Op has a new neighbor who recently moved in who has unhinged horror movie level behavior and is worried for his life. Posted by u/BrownThunder9000. Op made a post in our/legal advice that is titled, "Neighbor is doing weird things that are threatening to me." A few weeks ago, a new neighbor moved in across the street. To my knowledge, it's one guy who is about 40 to 50 years old. For the past few weeks since he moved in, he has been taking walks around the neighborhood, and every once in a while, when he passes my house, my living room has a window that looks into the front yard, he stops and watches me. When I go outside to investigate, he just says something along the lines of admiring my shingle work or stargazing. He has used these excuses before. He never comes directly onto my property when he does this. A few days ago, I came home, and when I went to pull the trash cans back from the street, my neighbor was sitting on his front porch with a rifle in his lap, in plain view. I asked him if there was anything wrong, and he just nodded at me. I went back into my house and called the police. Now, the spot I called the police from was in my kitchen. The only way to see into my kitchen from a window is if someone walks up to my living room window and peers to the left. After hanging up the phone, I turned toward the living room and saw my neighbor about 2 feet away from my window, peering in with the rifle. I ran into my room and locked the door. After the police arrived, I told them what happened, and they said that since he wasn't pointing the gun at me, it wasn't considered a threat. The most they could do was trespass him, but by the time they arrived, he had left his house. Yesterday, I came home at around 10 p.m. and found a dead fish in my mailbox. Without any evidence, how can I stop my neighbor from harassing me? Can I get a restraining order against him? Update 8 days later. I previously posted about my neighbor's actions threatening me. Since then, I got cameras with night vision, motion detection alerts, window tint for my living room, and big, thick curtains. I also got a few of those stickers for the area around my house that say insured by Glock to deter any intruders. The first night I had my cameras, I checked them the next morning to see how they worked. I made sure there were no blind spots and that all of them were fixed with no movement at all. When I checked the cameras the morning before, I saw someone walk up to them wearing all black, including a mask, and point them downward. When I left for work that morning, someone had spray painted a knife on my mailbox. I filed a report with the postal inspector and called the police. The police said that without any video evidence, there wasn't much they could do. That night, I woke up to a loud noise hitting my house repeatedly. I checked the cameras and couldn't see anything, so I went out to investigate and noticed small holes in my house. Looking around the ground, I found discharged rounds. I called the police again, and they confirmed that it was .22 caliber shots fired from far away. I have a concrete home, which would explain the lack of penetration. The police offered to have a patrol car in the neighborhood and sit outside for 3 days, but nothing happened. I asked if I could get a protective order against my neighbor, who has a history of hostility, but they said that since I had no direct evidence implicating him, I couldn't file one without cause, despite previous confrontations. I filed another report with a different officer and got the same spiel. I asked them to take fingerprints from the bullets, and they chuckled before putting the bullets in a bag and leaving. 3 days ago, I heard shots again. When I checked the cameras, I saw a silhouette shooting from the middle of the street before stopping and running to the back of my neighbor's house. I called the police from my room while watching the cameras. When they arrived, they walked me through the same routine as before, even after I showed them the footage. They knocked on my neighbor's door, and he claimed he heard and saw nothing. After they left, I asked him if he was telling the truth, and he just looked at me and smiled. It was very unnerving. I don't know what to do at this point. Comment update 3 months later. This similar behavior is something I suffered over the course of 1 to 2 months in Florida. I made posts in our/legal advice asking for help and got reasonably good answers. Unfortunately, my neighbor pushed it too far and tried to break into my house in the middle of the night after a series of weird, escalating behaviors. As a result, I shot him multiple times. I was questioned and interviewed for over 7 hours and then released due to Florida's stand your ground laws. It turned out the neighbor was mentally ill, and the family is currently trying to sue me for wrongful death. Hope this goes better for Op than for me. I should have just moved.